Welcome, yogis! Today's class is going to have a major focus on spinal health and stretching out your glutes and your hips in order to make sure that your lower back is nice and happy. This particular class comes to you after a very long day of yard work, and no matter how hard I try, my back always aches. So we're going to stretch it out and hopefully feel much better. Go ahead and find a comfortable seated position. You can find a cross-legged position. You can stack one shin on top of the other like I'm doing, or you can find full lotus if you are comfortable jumping right into that pose. As always, please remember to do what suits your body. So if you need to modify, great. If you know of a pose that would be more challenging that you'd like to try, go for it. This is your practice. So as we sit here, I want you to think about taking nice long breaths, starting to steady the breath. So the same amount of time inhaling, same amount of time exhaling. And as you breathe, feel the length in your spine. The inhales might help you lift up, and the exhales should pull your shoulders away from the ears so that you're relaxed in that heightened position. Go ahead and inhale the hands over the head, and then exhale, fold forward, supporting yourself with your hands, and then easing yourself a little bit deeper if that suits you. Otherwise, stay supported. Use your breath to inhale to lengthen, exhale, release, and relax forward. Start to notice the tension in the lower back easing away, any tension in the glute and hip of that top leg easing away. Walk your hands back in and come back up to upright. Inhale the hands over the head again, and exhale this time twist. Opposite hand to that top knee. Inhaling, lengthening, and then exhale, the back hand reaches up and over for a side stretch. Twisting again, and then reaching up and over. Lengthening the side, making sure the shoulder stays open so you can see past that top arm. Twisting once more. And then we'll go ahead and release the twist, come back to center, and we're going to uncross the legs and move to the other side. But first, let's take a boat pose. Knees can be bent or extend the legs. And then we're going to go ahead and rock side to side very gently with control, putting a little bit of pressure on each glute, massaging out the glute and that space right where it attaches to the lower back. Come back to center, and then let's switch to the other side. So the opposite leg in front or opposite shin on top. Bring the hands back to prayer, and let's take a couple more breaths here. Maybe taking a few moments to practice some meditative breathing, meditative thoughts. Think about lengthening the breath, keeping the breath balanced, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, lengthening the crown of the head towards the sky, and find balance in all of these things. Same amount of exertion, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky as pulling the shoulders from the ears. Same amount of time inhaling and exhaling. Just finding that balance or that symmetry, not just of the physical body, but also of the mental and emotional body. Let's take a couple more breaths. And then on your next inhale, the hands rise up, and exhale, shift forward, really keeping a nice long spine. And as soon as you feel like the spine might start to fold, release the hands forward. Take an inhale, lengthening the breath, and on your exhale, really release forward. keeping the spine long and just letting your body relax into a deeper version of the pose if that's available for you. If not, stay supported and really work on keeping a nice long spine. One long line of energy out through the tailbone and up through the crown of the head. Start to walk the hands back in, coming back up to upright. Inhale, the hands rise up, and exhale, twist, opposite hand to that top knee, keeping a nice long spine as you twist. Release the back hand and reach it up and over, lengthening the side body, and then taking it into the twist once again, making sure the spine is stacked and tall so that as you twist, you don't put any pressure on the discs in your spine. Let's take another side extension, and then one more twist, and then release, and let's come back to center. Uncross the legs and find boat pose one more time. And just like before, if you'd like to give yourself a little rock side to side, you can. Or you can focus on strengthening the core, rolling the shoulders down the back, shoulders away from the ears. It's up to you and what feels good on your back. A couple more breaths here, or a couple more rocks side to side, depending on what you're doing. And then come back to center, cross the legs, roll over the ankles, and let's find table. Inhale, drop the belly. Exhale, round. Inhale, find lots of extension in cow belly. And then exhale, flex the spine in cat. Come back to a neutral spine, and we'll do a little bit of core work, reaching opposite arm in front, opposite heel behind, exhaling, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hollow out the belly. Inhale, reach, and maybe find a small back bend. Exhale. Inhale, a little bit deeper back bend. Exhale. Inhale, reach, and this time reach around for that back foot for a twisted dancer. Variation on your knees, of course. One more breath here, and gently release. Find the neutral spine as you drop the knee and hand to the ground. And then find your balance on the other side. Reach out through the heel, out through the fingertips. Exhale to round. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, tiny back bend. Exhale. Inhale, a little bit bigger, and reach for that back foot. Push the foot into the hand. Create lots of length as you arch the back, making sure you're not putting any kinks in the lower back or in the neck, so you're not straining. Release and come back to table, neutral spine. And then let's take a couple cat-cows, or if you'd like, you can take some bear poses, circle the hips, circle the shoulders, whatever feels good on your spine. Remember, today is all about spinal health, so we want to move the spine in all different directions. On your next exhale, push back to down dog, bending the knees if you need to, so that you can really focus on lengthening out through the tailbone. If you'd like to walk one heel at a time, lengthening the legs, feel free to do that. Or if there's another variation that feels good, maybe rolling up onto the balls of the feet, stretching out the toes, and then dropping the heels back and really lengthening the backs of the legs. Again, whatever feels good on your lower back. We'll take a couple more breaths here in this initial down dog, just to work through your down dog and find a comfortable starting position. And then gently step forward, forward fold. Inhale to a flat back, release, and then inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, dive forward, hinging at the hips, rounding at the last moment, and then brushing the fingertips as you rise up into chair pose. Again, really using your core here in chair pose so that you don't overextend, arch the lower back. On an exhale, release down, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release the head and neck. Inhale, rise all the way up, mountain. Tiny back bend if that feels good. Hands to your heart. Inhale. If you don't want the back bend, just reach nice and tall. Exhale, fold, and rise up into chair pose, sinking the hips down and back. Let's go ahead and twist our chair pose so the opposite elbow comes to the opposite knee, hands in prayer, gently using the palms for leverage to create that twist, but not straining here. It's very, very gentle. Inhale back to center, and then to the other side, making sure that the knees stay aligned. We have a tendency to let that free knee jut forward. We want to make sure we keep those knees aligned, keep the hips square behind us, twist just through the upper body. Inhale to center, and then exhale, release. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, rise all the way back up. Hands to your heart. Inhale, tall mountain. Exhale, hinge forward, rounding at the last moment. And then inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and this time gently step back to plank. Take an inhale, nice long spine. And if you want to take a chaturanga, you can, or you can just gently drop the hips and come into up dog. Exhale, push back, down dog. I'm not going to be doing a ton of chaturangas today because I'm tired. I did a lot of yard work. Inhale, split down dog, one foot comes up. Exhale, bring that foot all the way through and rise up into crescent pose. So you're still balanced on the ball of the back foot in a really, really deep lunge. You can bend the back knee if this is too intense in your hip flexor, or you can extend that back leg for a bit more intensity in crescent pose. Release both hands down to the ground of the inside of the foot. Drop the back knee if that feels good, and find lizard pose. Trying to squeeze the front knee close towards your shoulder. Don't let it splay out. If this feels good, walk the hands a little farther forward and maybe drop the elbows to the ground or drop the elbows to a block. Think about lengthening through the crown of the head and not just collapsing the upper body towards the ground. If you have some openness in your quad, pick up that back foot and reach around opposite hand, grabbing a hold of the back foot. Front knee gently drops outward at a 45-degree angle. Foot, make sure the foot goes in the same direction as the knee. And then to come out of it, release the back foot, come back up onto the hands, lift the back knee, and then gently step to plank. Nice long spine. Taking a chaturanga if you want, or just going right into up dog. Exhaling, down dog. Inhale, the opposite foot comes up, hips stay square, reach through that floating heel, and on an exhale, we're going to bring the foot all the way through, finding that high lunge. Find your balance and then rise up to crescent pose. Again, bending the back knee if you need to, if the stretch is too intense in that hip flexor. On your next breath, you're going to release the hands to the inside of the front foot, maybe walking that foot to the outside edge of the mat. Drop the back knee and come into lizard pose. Starting on the palms really focusing on keeping that knee hugged in towards your shoulder. And I always encourage you to take a couple breaths in the easier version of a pose just to see how it feels. And if it feels good and you're ready to drop to the elbows, you can drop the elbows now. Maybe that front knee starts to go wide so that you open up into the hip and glute a little bit more, making sure you turn out the toes. So the toes are always pointed in the same direction as the knee. And then maybe reaching for the back foot, opening up through the heart, opening up through the quad of that back leg, and then releasing back through each variation, making your way onto your palms, lifting the back knee and stepping to plank. I'm taking a little extra core work here, so if you want to do that, you can do that as well. Inhaling up dog, exhaling down dog, or whatever vinyasa, whatever variation you would like to make your way to down dog. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, jump or step the feet forward. And find forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And release. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Reaching for the sky. Exhaling, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale. Half lift, really focus on making that number 7 with the upper body, and then release and jump or step back to plank. Maybe take your push-up or your chaturanga, or right into your back bend, up dog or cobra. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up, reach through the heel, and on an exhale, bring that foot all the way through. Make your way to crescent pose again. Maybe notice that back hip flexor is a little bit warmer. You can straighten the leg a little bit more. And then palms come together, and let's take another twist, similar to the twist we took in chair pose. So the hands will stay in prayer. Hook the elbow around the outside of that front knee and roll the upper body open. Maybe bringing your gaze towards the sky. If you have the flexibility in your neck and you want the challenge of your balance. And maybe opening the arms and coming into an unsupported twist, using the core strength to create the twist. On an exhale, shift the weight forward, pick up that back foot, revolved half moon. Really focus on squaring the hips and twisting, opening up the shoulders. Gently soften the back foot back down to the ground, coming into high lunge, and then gently stepping to plank. Inhale, opening up the heart, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, the opposite foot comes up, reach through the heel, long line of energy from fingertips through the heel. Exhale, bring the foot all the way through. Find your balance in high lunge and then rise up to crescent pose. Big inhale, and then exhale, keep the length in the spine as you tilt forward and twist into your prayer twist. The more you can bring your gaze to the sky, the more you'll challenge your balance in this pose. Remember, you can stay here, or you can open up the arms. And then if you have the arms open, come to an upright position, finding an unsupported twist, using the strength of the core to create the twist, trying to not drop that back hip. And then bring your gaze forward, shift your weight forward, revolved half moon. Try to stack the shoulders as much as you can. Don't put too much weight into that bottom hand. And then gently step back to high lunge. Maybe challenge your balance for a moment before you step to plank. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Take a breath or two here. And then on your next exhale, we'll make our way back to forward fold, either jump or step. Inhale, flatten the back, reach out through the crown of the head, and then release. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Notice the change in the backs of the legs as you extend and then as you round. Inhale to plank, take a push-up or skip it and go right into up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, reach one foot up, reach out through the heel. And then exhale, hollow out the belly and try to bring the knee towards the nose. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee to the same elbow. Back up, split down dog. Exhale to the opposite elbow, extending the leg for an extra challenge. Inhale, split down dog. And then exhale, instead of bringing the foot all the way through, we're going to bring the shin through, coming into pigeon pose. So to make this more challenging, try to bring the shin parallel with the front of the mat, or make it a little bit easier by bringing the foot closer towards your hips. Either way, maybe walk the hands a little bit farther forward, coming to rest on your elbows, or maybe resting the forehead to the backs of the hands. Breathing into that hip, but really also feeling the release in your glute and your lower back on that side. With every breath, try to relax into pigeon. I know pigeon can be very intense if you have tight hips, so adjust that ankle accordingly. Make your way back up to upright and pick up the back foot if you can, grabbing a hold of the back foot or wrapping a strap around it, giving yourself a little bit of a quad stretch. And you can play with this here. You can either pull the foot closer towards your back, more of a quad stretch, or push the foot into the hand, more of a chest stretch. Go ahead and release and fold yourself forward again. Notice how it feels the second time around. Does it feel more comfortable? Does it feel strained? Do you really need to adjust where that front foot is? Just breathe and feel. And if you need to make a change for something that suits your body. Now we're going to come back to upright one more time. And this time we're going to do a twisted pigeon. So opposite hand to that front knee. Free hand reaches down the back leg. Or you can pick up that back foot again, getting a little bit of a quad stretch. But I want the focus here to be on the twist. Release, come back to center, fold yourself forward one more time. And again, how does it feel this third time around? Does it feel good? Does it feel bad? Do you need to back off a little bit? How does it feel? Breathe. Breathe into the back ribs. Breathe into the lower back. Go ahead and come back up to upright and shift your weight onto the hip of that front leg and swing the back leg all the way around. And do the best you can to stack one knee right on top of the other. Just like with pigeon, the closer you bring the heels towards your hips, the easier it will be on your hips. If you keep those shins right perpendicular to your thighs, then it'll be much more challenging. Find the arms of cow face and then release. We'll find boat before we switch to the other side. Take a couple of rocks side to side, massage out the glute, massage out the hip. Come back to center. And then we'll go ahead and make our way to the other side. So first come to pigeon, same side we've been working on. Stay here just for a moment, and then gently lift up that front leg, and we're going to step back to plank. Inhale to up dog. Exhale, down dog. And now we'll make our way to the other side. Inhale, opposite foot reaches straight to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, split down dog. Exhale, knee to the same elbow. Inhale, split down dog. Exhale, opposite elbow. Inhale, reaching back behind you, split down dog, and then exhale, bring the shin through, finding pigeon. Make the appropriate adjustments so that you find the level of intensity that works for you in pigeon, and then slowly fold out over that front leg. Maybe coming onto the elbows. Take a breath or two here. Maybe releasing down, forehead towards the ground if that feels good. Breathe and feel the expansion in the back ribs. Feel the expansion in your lower back. And then every time you exhale, feel the ease, feel the release in your hip and your glute. Make your way back up to upright and reach back with the same hand. Grab a hold of the back foot. If you're super duper open in your hip and in your quad, maybe flip the grip and try pushing the heel towards your hip. Gently release, come back to center, and walk yourself out over that front leg one more time. As you breathe, notice how it feels. Does it feel better? Does it feel worse? Do you need to make some adjustments? Take another breath here. And then we'll go ahead and make our way back up to upright. And we're going to twist in our pigeon first. So that back hand just slides down a straight back leg. And if that feels good and you want the extra quad stretch, you can bend the back leg and grab a hold of the foot. Again, you can play with pulling the foot closer towards the body or push the foot into the hand for more of a chest stretch. Release, come back to center, and fold over pigeon one last time. Taking a couple breaths here. Just really noticing how it feels in your hip and your lower back. Walk your hands back in, come back up to upright, swing that back leg all the way around, aligning the knees, aligning the shins. And if this feels good, you can add the arms, coming into cow face, arms, but really the focus is on your hips. So if you need the support and you need to have your hands tented on either side of you, that's fine. That might be especially helpful for some of you who have tight hips and have a difficult time aligning the knees or getting the knees to relax towards the ground. Release the hands and uncross the legs, and let's find boat one more time. You can rock side to side and give yourself a little massage. Maybe rock back and forth just a little bit, using the ground to target those pressure points in your glutes and your lower back. Come back to center. And then we're going to find pigeon one more time, just for a moment, before we tuck the toes of the back foot and lift up, making your way back to plank. Inhale. Find your back bend, up dog or cobra, and then exhale, down dog. Inhale, and on your exhale, jump or step the feet forward, finding forward fold. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, release, let the head hang heavy, and then inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands back to your heart center. Inhale, grow tall. Keep the length in your spine as you dive forward. Inhale, flat back. And exhale, release. You can jump if you're jumping into chaturanga or step to plank. Either way, everyone will come to up dog. And then exhale, push the hips back, down dog. Now inhale, pick up one foot, and we're going to bend the knee. Keep the knee towards the sky, opening up the hip flexor. And then give yourself maybe a couple of hip circles, one direction and then the other. And then bring the knee back to center. And I want you to feel like there's a weight attached to the foot that's just pulling you heavier and heavier until you find Wild Thing. If Wild Thing is not in your practice and you just want to stay in down dog, that's perfectly fine. Everyone will make your way back to down dog now. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So inhale, pick up the opposite foot. First, bend the knee. Point the knee straight to the sky, opening up the hip. And then give your hip a couple of circles, one direction, and then the other. And then come back to center and imagine that weight on your foot that's pulling it heavy, opening up the hip flexor, and eventually dropping towards the ground, coming into Wild Thing, or just staying in your split down dog, imagining a heavy foot. Everyone makes their way back to split down dog and then releasing the foot, regular down dog. Take a breath. And then on your next exhale, soften the knees to the ground. Knees can be wide or together, big toes touching, and drop the hips towards the heels for child's pose. So if the knees are open, you have a little bit more space for your chest and you can have really deep breathing. It's a little bit more restorative in my opinion. If your knees are together, it's a little bit more opening in the lower back. It can be more challenging to breathe though. So it's your choice. Either way, let's walk our hands over to one side, opening up the side body. Maybe challenging yourself by taking that forward arm and crossing it over the back arm. Go ahead and release and come to the other side. Breathe through the side ribs. Maybe create a little bit more intensity by walking that top hand over. And then release back to center. Relaxing the hips closer to the heels. If the knees are open, chest closer to the ground. And then come up to table. And we're going to make our way to camel. So if you need to roll up your mat for extra cushion on your knees, you can do that now. You can do camel with your toes tucked or untucked. It's up to you. I really like to do it with my toes tucked because I have a lot of problems with my feet, and so it feels good to stretch them out. We're going to roll through camel. So one hand to the heel, opposite hand rolls up and over, hips push forward. So not the full variation of the pose, just rocking side to side. And then let's come back to center and bring our hips up so that they're right on top of our knees and prepare for camel. Now, if this is too intense for you, you can always keep the hands supporting you, pressing into your lower back or grabbing a hold of the backs of the thighs. Otherwise, you can drop one hand at a time to each heel, pushing the hips forward into an imaginary wall. Go ahead and release. Sit back down onto the heels and maybe pick up the knees to stretch out the fronts of the feet, fronts of the ankles. And then cross the legs and gently roll back. Extend the legs out in front of you, maybe give them a little shake, and then inhale, hands tall, find a long spine, and keep the length in the spine as you fold forward. I want you to picture bringing your belly button towards the middle of your thighs, chest towards the knees, and the nose towards the middle of the shins. That will help you keep a nice long spine. Release, roll yourself up to upright and push the hips towards the sky, finding reverse plank. And then release the hips back down to the ground. Bring one foot in, bring the foot to the inside of the thigh. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, fold, grabbing a hold of whatever you can reach. Maybe grabbing your strap. Inhaling, flattening the back. And then exhaling a little bit deeper. Engaging the arms, not straining, not pushing yourself, but engaging the arms so that you have a little bit of intensity in the upper body to create the intensity of your choice in the lower body. Release and walk yourself back up to upright, and then take that bent knee and cross the ankle over the knee. We're going to come into a twist. You can keep the bottom leg extended or bend it, bringing the heel towards your hip. Go ahead and hook your elbow over that bent knee, upright knee, and look behind you. That back hand can stay there for support, or you can wrap it around your back and maybe try a bind. Gently release the twist, and let's find that on the other side. So first the hamstring stretch, bringing the opposite foot to the inner thigh, inhaling to the sky first, long spine, and then exhale, belly button to thigh, chest to knee, and nose to shin. Engage the arms, make sure the shoulders are staying in their sockets, shoulder blades are staying on your back. Maybe if there's a little bend in the elbow, the biceps are engaged. Breathe and lengthen both the hamstring, that's the obvious one, but also lengthening the back as you try to extend the whole upper body out over that leg. Roll yourself back up to upright, and let's take the twist on the other side. Inhaling towards the sky, and then exhaling, hooking the elbow around the knee. Backhand is there for support. I'm really trying to challenge my twists here, and I'm trying to work towards being able to bind around the full shin. I can bind through the legs, but not around the full shin. So my focus here is to hook the knee in the armpit and just try to extend that leg, reaching for the ankle. Go ahead and release. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, fold out over both legs. Reach through the crown of the head. Engage the arms. Lengthen the backs of the legs, lengthen the lower back, and then roll yourself back up to upright and find reverse plank again. If this is too intense, you can always bend the knees and find reverse table instead. Release the hips back down to the ground, and we are going to roll down onto our backs and bring the knees in towards the chest. Let the knees go wide towards the outside of your rib cage, soles of the feet towards the sky, grabbing hold of the outside edges of the feet or the ankles, whatever you can reach. Rolling the tailbone towards the ground, plugging the shoulders into their sockets, feeling the release in your hips and your lower back, maybe giving yourself a massage by rocking side to side. One more breath in happy baby, and then release. Keep one knee towards your chest and extend the opposite leg out. Engage that extended leg and try to connect it all the way with the ground. And then keep that extended leg as straight as you can as you take the top knee across the body for a twist. making sure that you're bringing your gaze to the opposite arm, twisting all the way through the cervical spine, and then come back to center. And let's take that same twist, but this time with a straight leg. So extend the leg towards the sky and start to pull it up towards the opposite shoulder, feeling the length in the hamstring and the glute, and then very gently dropping that straight leg all the way across the body, thinking about making an L with the legs. Bend that crossed leg and roll back to center. Knees come back to your chest, maybe another rock side to side. And then let's switch sides. Opposite knee towards your chest. Engage the extended leg, pushing the back of the knee into the ground. And then take that bent knee across the body for an easier twist first. That bottom leg is still actively engaged, reaching it long and straight. And then bring your gaze to the extended arm, twisting all the way through the spine. Come back to center, and let's extend the bent leg and start to pull the straight leg across the body. First towards the opposite shoulder, feeling the length in the hamstring. Depending on what side you're on, maybe feeling some intensity if you have any sciatica issues or IT issues. And then taking that straight leg all the way across the body. Bottom leg is still engaged. You have to keep it engaged if you want to continue creating that L shape with the legs. And then release, come back to center. Squeeze the knees as close to the shoulders as you can. Hug your shins in towards the hamstrings, thighs in towards your ribs. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release. Release, let your body roll open. Let the blood flow back through the abdomen freely. And just relax and recover. Because today's focus was on spinal health, I want you to take a few moments to bring your focus and run it up and down the spine. Starting with your lower spine, your tailbone, roll up through the lumbar and see how that lower back feels. Do you need to make any adjustments in Shavasana to make it more comfortable? Roll up a little bit farther. Do you feel just a tiny bit of your lower back rising up off the ground so that you're finding that neutral, natural curve? How does your thoracic spine feel? Do you need to adjust your shoulder blades so that it feels comfortable as it curves and connects with the ground? Now bring your focus up to the cervical spine. Again, you should find a natural arch there. Just check in. See how it feels. And then finally, how does the crown of the head feel? Do you need a pillow? Nothing wrong with that. After you've taken inventory with your spine, I encourage you to stay here as long as you want in Shavasana. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. I hope your back feels absolutely lovely tomorrow, and that you can go on to pull many more weeds in the future. Thank you for practicing with me, and namaste.